Hey everybody, Rob Kosberg here with Bestseller Publishing for our BSPU call. Today, I have 5 points to share with you. I want to talk to you about 5 steps to a continually growing and profitable business. And of course, you know, in some ways, that is very open-ended and very general. And I could probably talk about many different things, whether it's things on the back end of your business or things on the front end of your business. But I want to give you a little bit of a foundation, and then I want to share some things that I believe that you as creators, because I'm speaking to creators, right? Those of you that are on the front stage of your business because you're the author, you're the best-selling author, etc. I want to talk to you about how in your role, you can create a continually growing and profitable business. I want to give you 5 things around that. I don't know if you know who Dan Sullivan is. Dan Sullivan is the founder of Strategic Coach, really smart guy. You should listen to him. He has a number of different podcasts, YouTube channels, etc. Been in the game for a long time. I think Dan is 74. His business last year did $40 million in revenue. He has 3,000 paying coaching clients. And Dan refers to his business and really business in general from a kind of actor showbiz type of mentality. And what I mean by that is he talks about the front stage and the backstage. The front stage is everything having to do with relating to your marketplace, right? You wrote your book or you're writing your book to relate to the front stage. If you're doing speaking engagements or getting PR and media or posting on social media or doing paid advertising, etc., then you are operating on the front stage. And I think, I dare say that all of you are front stage people. Now, because of the size of your business, you may be the front stage and the backstage, right? Understandable. And there are some things I'm going to share about when it comes to front stage and backstage if you're having to do both of those things. But you are for certain, as the author of your book, operating on the front of the stage. Now, by the way, you may be an introvert operating on the front of the stage. This doesn't mean that you're an extrovert. This doesn't mean that you're just the gregarious, outgoing, love people person. But you're the author, you're the authority, you're the brain trust. And because of that, you are on the front stage. And so that's at least the foundation of what I want to share with you, because the 5 things that I want to talk about have to do with you being on the front stage of your business. And some of this will relate to what you need to do for the backstage as well. So let me give you the 5. And in some ways, they're in no particular order, but there is at least a semblance of order. Meaning that you don't necessarily do these in steps, but some of them naturally follow others. So number 1, first and foremost, when it comes to creating something that is continually growing and profiting, is you need to always be creating. I would call that the ABC, if you will. You've heard of always be closing, and certainly that's true from a sales perspective. But always be creating. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean a couple of different things. If you are a natural writer, then you should always be writing. Now, that doesn't mean that you're writing your next book, but not a bad idea. You're still perhaps in, the mindset of creating your current book. Great. I'm not trying to get you on book number 2 before you finish book number 1, but wherever you find your zone of genius, in other words, whatever that creation element that you are most naturally pulled towards, you must always be creating. What does that look like for me? Well, I am not the natural writer, and in some ways that's why I created the format of our hybrid ghostwriting program, because I needed something that fit with my strengths, and I just happen to find that fits with most people's strengths, and that is using our voice, whether on audio or video, to communicate to our marketplace, and then do that in such a way that that can then be converted. So when I think of always be creating, it is always be creating video or audio content that can then, and I'm going to talk about this in a moment, that can then be repurposed so that I can touch people that consume content in many different ways. But for me, always be creating means creating this kind of content. In fact, 3 years ago, maybe actually it's about 4 years now, when I created BSPU, the idea in creating BSPU was I wanted an outlet for my personal creativity, for my personal creation. And I wanted a way to be communicating to my clients on a regular basis the things that I was learning, the things that I was thinking about. And if I was going to do that, I also wanted to use some of this content for my forward, my front stage, my forward facing marketplace stuff. And so BSPU is something that I do almost every single week. Every now and again, I'm going to be traveling or whatnot, and I don't do it, but that's pretty rare. It's 45 to 50 weeks a year. And this makes me, kind of puts my arm behind my back, and it makes me do what I am naturally accustomed to doing anyway, every single week, creating content. So you need to do that for yourself. Now, I don't know if you need something like this format, meaning like you need a way to kind of put your arm behind your back and force you to do it. I know that there's 30, 40, 50 people that are planning on showing up Tuesday at noon Pacific. So I need some good stuff. So I'm always consuming content. I'm always reading. I'm always looking, and I'm always taking notes about how I can communicate this stuff back to you. This is my outlet. This is my always be creating format. You need something like that for yourself as well. That's number one. Number two directly relates to it. And that is, you should always look for a way to multiply your efforts. Always look for a way to multiply your efforts. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is, if you're going to do something like this that is continual, always be creating, I do mine weekly, and I'm going to do it in a video form, then there's no reason why that video can't then have the audio stripped out and use it as audio snippets. And there's also no reason that I can't then have it, changed into 1, 2, or maybe more blog posts, social media posts, etc. Now, look, I know that I am kind of speaking in run-on sentences and it's long, but I do it in a formatted way, right? I have my 5 points. You'll often see that when I do something like this, I have multiple points, or maybe I have a diagram that I'm sharing. I do that for a couple of reasons. One, because I believe it's easier to communicate things that way. But number two, I also do it because if I'm going to transcribe this and turn this into a blog post, or turn this into maybe shorter social media posts, then it's easier for a writer to come along after me, take my content and repurpose it in such a way that maybe I have 5 posts. 1 post on how to always be creating content, 1 post on multiplying your effort, 1 post on working in your, I don't want to tell you what the next point is until I'm ready, but you get the idea, right? So multiply your efforts. Do something in a way that allows you to take a piece of content and turn that piece of content into multiple pieces of content. I don't know if you know who Gary Vaynerchuk is, but Gary V puts out 250 pieces of content a day. Now, he doesn't do that by sitting down and recording 250 pieces of content. He does that because he has a videographer that's been following him around for years, and he has a full team that then takes that, everything he does, every meeting that he does, every speaking engagement that he does, every fill in the blank that he does, every telephone call, if it's on speaker that he does, they cut out the pieces that he doesn't want to be shown to the whole world, and they take the pieces that are actionable, maybe entertaining, educational, etc. And then he cuts that and chops that up into multiple pieces of content. Now, I'm not suggesting that you get your own, I think it's DMAC is what he calls his videographer, kind of the leader of the team. I'm not suggesting that you do that, but I am suggesting that when you are creating content, make sure you create content that multiplies your efforts, okay? Number three, Work in your genius. I mentioned a word, zone of genius, and I've heard that used by a number of different people. More recently, again, something I was listening to that Dan Sullivan was doing. And Dan didn't talk about all of these things, but he did share the idea of the front stage and backstage, and that's where I came up with what I wanted to share with you today, which is these 5 steps of focusing on the front stage. Step number 3 being work in your genius. Now, I've shared a number of different times how to locate your genius. I talk about my 3 E's, right? I think I just shared some commentary on that just a couple of weeks ago. These are the tasks that you are required is not the right word. These are the tasks that you love to do because you're excellent at it. It is enjoyable to you, and these are earning tasks. These are money-making tasks for you. You need to find that zone of genius that you're working in. And so as your business grows, if you choose to grow your business, then you're going to find yourself naturally kind of directed to and focused on the things that you enjoy the most and that you are the most excellent at. And hopefully, those are going to be the things that are the $1,000 an hour, $10,000 an hour assignments that only you can be doing as the authority, the content creator. Everything else needs to be moved away. So work in your genius. That means a couple of things. If this is point 3, I'd say point 3A is that means you need to know your zone of genius, right? What are the things that you're doing in your business that you love, that you're the best at, and that make you money? It's got to be all 3 of those things, right? You have to be focused on the money on the front end of the stage, right? You're the one delivering the pop. You're the one delivering the excitement. You're the one that is closest doing the customer-facing stuff. That is the money-making stuff. You're the one that can do that. Nobody else can do that as good as you. So A, you need to know what is your zone of genius. And then B, you need to, little by little, make sure that you are focused on that zone of genius and get all the other busy stuff, all the other stuff that isn't making you money outsourced. That's point number 4, which is outsource the non-genius stuff. Outsource as soon as you can the non-genius stuff. Now, let me talk for just a moment, those of you who are, operating as kind of the singular entity in your business, the one-woman show, the one-man show, et cetera. If you're doing that, that's totally fine. Your first great hire, your first most important hire is a great executive assistant. That needs to be your first hire. The person that you can, even if they're part-time, the person that you can trust to do all the little things that, are the $10 an hour, $20 an hour, $50, $100 an hour stuff that you find yourself doing that you can put off on that executive assistant. Here's the beautiful thing about a great executive assistant. That is, that executive assistant, as your business grows, can grow into the chief operating officer of your business if you end up bringing on 5 staff members, 10 staff members, 20 staff members, et cetera. A great executive assistant really is nothing more than the chief operating officer of your business, but because of the size of your business, that person is literally in the operations of it while you're focused on the engagement with the audience and the growth of the business. In other words, the front stage. So again, number 3, you're working in your genius, leads to number 4, try to, at some level, begin to outsource. And your first outsource opportunity is to a great executive assistant. By the way, if you have multiple employees or multiple contractors that are, working for you, that do things for you, et cetera, and you're thinking to yourself, I really need an operations manager, then what you need first before you hire an operations manager is you need a great executive assistant. In other words, find that person first that's a great executive assistant, and then you will also find the person that will take your orders and be the one that gives those orders to the rest of your team. Okay, so even if you have a great team under you and you're feeling like I want to take the next step means getting a great executive assistant, and it may be someone already on your team, but a great executive assistant should know you and should be the person that can communicate your desires, your heart, your focus to the rest of the team. Okay. So you don't need to pay, six figures for a great operations person when what you really need is a great executive assistant initially, and that person may easily grow into being valued at six figures to your business as you get to that point. Okay. That's number 4. And then number 5, and as I said, these are in no particular order because number 5 really needs to be a focus for you all the time. Number 5 is always be focused on money-making activities. Always be focused on the money-making activities. You are the rainmaker. If you are the best-selling author in your business, if you're the one that's appearing on media, on TV, on radio, on speaking engagements, then you are going to have a list of things that are always coming to you to be done. I was speaking to kind of my operations person today. I call Bob, term the phrase client experience manager. He's really our operations manager, and Bob's fantastic, and I've known him for a long, long time. And Bob and I were going through all of this HR stuff, and I just said, let me be clear about this. I'm not the point person of it. I don't want to be the point person of it. It needs to be either you or May. That's the point person of this. And you just inform me of what's going on. Now, Bob already knew that, but just very clearly that is not an activity that I can be focused on. I need to be focused on the next activity that's going to put me in front of the most number of people that I can help. Eileen says Bob is the best. He is the best. I love Bob. I've actually known Bob for 25 years. So we've been friends a long, long time, which he's a great friend. I'm actually going to see him in person tomorrow. I'm flying. Bob and I are meeting up in Tennessee, and we're going to go to the football game at Neyland Stadium. So they're allowing that again, which is kind of fun. Anyway, so I'll get a chance to see Bob and spend some time with him. So be focused on the money-making activities. You know what? You know what those things are. If you don't have a sales team, then guess what? Number 1, you need to be on with people that are giving you money. Somebody needs to be, right? So that means you need to be having those consultative sales calls so people can give you money. If you go a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks without those, that's not good, right? You're not growing that way. Now, you may have enough clients right now to where you're full, and maybe you don't need that, but you know what you should have? A waiting list of clients that want to come to you. When you have a waiting list and you have a bad client, what can you do? You can ask that person to leave. You can say, you know what, I can't help you anymore. We're not a good fit anymore, whatever. And you have a waiting list. You can then also raise your prices. It gives you the confidence to do that. So you need to be on a regular basis. If you don't have a sales team, that needs to be a part of what you do. If you don't have regular leads, then guess what? Who is going to be thinking about the leads for you? You need to be the one thinking about, how do I use my book to get the next speaking engagement? How do I use my book to generate leads online? How do I use my book in conjunction with LinkedIn, right? These are the things that I talk to you about every single week. If you're not focused on the money-making activities for your business, I promise you, no one else is. And you don't want that to be the case. You need to be the one. You cannot outsource that part of your business. That part of your business, maybe once you get to, I don't know, 50 million a year or something like that, perhaps you could. But that part of your business, you are the face of. You are the one that's thinking about it. You are the one that is going to take it to the next level. If you want a continually growing and profitable business, then you must always be focused on the activities that are bringing revenue into your company. No one else is going to do it as well as you, okay? So let me give you the 5 again. Those are the 5, and then I want to answer any questions that you might have about those 5. Number 1, always be creating. You're the creators in your business. Always be creating. Let me just mute all of you because somebody squawked there. So always be creating. All right, you're the creators in your business. I don't know what the best form of creation is for you, but pick it and run with it. Number 2, multiply your efforts. When you create something great, you need to make sure that it's multiplied. If you're a great writer, then shoot a quick video about what you just wrote. Do a quick podcast about what you just wrote. Multiply your efforts. Number 3, always work in your zone of genius. Always focus on what you're best at. Number 4, outsource. And the first outsource, if you're a newbie, if you're just getting started, then you want a great executive assistant when you get to that point. Otherwise, you're doing, you're the, as they say, chief cook and bottle washer, is it? And then last but not least, always be focused on the money-making activities. I don't care if you have a multi-million-dollar business or a business that is just starting from scratch at zero, you're going to be the one that needs to be focused on the money-making activities. Okay? Those are the 5 steps to a continually growing and profitable business. When you talk about the front stage, and you are front stage people in showbiz, you're the one on the front of the stage.
Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. Every week, we're posting tons more content to help you to publish, promote, and profit. So go ahead and subscribe now to the channel and click the bell icon to be notified whenever new content is available. And if you're interested in my latest book, Publish, Promote, Profit, just go to publishpromoteprofit.com.